From Young. Why are so many Christians putting off marriage nowadays? That is a most excellent observation and question. Why are you putting off marriage, young person? The average age of the married person, first time, is increasing. I think, give or take, the number is around 27 these days, and it appears to be going up more and more and more. That is a societal change, which raises the question, what's going on, young person? Well, Karen, you say, perhaps it's because we're struggling to find godly people, and sadly, I think that's the issue. As I travel to different churches, having conversations with different parents and with different young people who are desiring to get married, the lament is, where are the godly spouses? It seems, I don't know why exactly, but these days there is a drought of godly young people who are desiring similar good things like marriage. Where have all of the godly people gone? And might I suggest that it's more men that are less? You do the math on that. There are fewer men that are available by being godly than women. Why is it? My experience, totally subjective, didn't consult with George Barna. There are indeed godly young women, but the godly young men, you can search high and low, and you might not find any in your local church. That is one problem, that there just aren't as many godly opportunities and options as perhaps there once were. Why? Well, aren't we seeing a decrease in the number of professing Christians in that demographic? I think there are more reasons. Number two, sorry about this, pornography. Young men, they do not have that need for an intimate partner because they've got pixels. Who needs a person when I've got a computer screen with option after option after option? And so it is, they are satisfied with something ridiculously low and dirty when they could have the greater thing. Problem is, this is more work than this, and so they don't desire to work hard to get that. They are satisfied with this. There are more reasons, I suspect, and that is societal pressure. Culture, it bleeds in, it gets into us, whether we like to be aware of it and admit it or not. When the culture is behaving a certain way, we tend to follow it. And these days, it is about living wild and free, sowing your oats, having all kinds of experiences, doing your own thing, Daddy-o. Who needs marriage? After all, it's a ball and chain, don't you know? You can't have multiple partners when you tie the knot. Come on, you want a party. After all, you're only young once, and those messages, I think, get into the ears and hearts of young people, and they simply obey. And therefore, they don't desire the greater thing, which leads us to the fourth reason young people aren't getting married. Church, are we talking about marriage in lofty contexts? Or are we joining the culture? Oh man, you've been married how long? Whoa, how'd you make it that far? That's not the way we should be talking about marriage. We should be raising it up as an ideal. Here's the prize. You want the brass ring? You want the gold cup? Any other metallic sort of object? This is it. Marriage is the best thing. Strive for it. Furthermore, number 5, in youth group, are we trying to grow young people toward that ideal? Mom and Dad, are we trying to encourage our youth, our kids, to be more godly because the goal is marriage? Yes, of course, it's about sanctification, being pleasing to the Lord by being obedient. But perhaps we need to start talking about marriage in such a way where we are encouraging them, exhorting them, hey, put away childish things. Cut it out with the games. Stop running with children and doing dopey things. Let's become more godly. Let's become a person that can be married, that can actually qualify for that institution. Might I suggest there is a sixth thing, and there is some truth to this. I do understand this. This isn't a complete black or white sort of delineation, but it seems many people that I talk to who aren't getting married, they're just waiting for blank. Well, as soon as I finish school, then I'll find a spouse. As soon as I get that job making this much money, as soon as I can afford a house, then we will. And look, I understand there are some truths to that, and yet my observation is it's just another stumbling block. Well, I can't do it because. Well, then there's this issue. And while I do believe that you should be wise, that you should consider finances, can you live without being supported by your parents? I get that. Quit waiting for nirvana. It seems so many young people think everything needs to be in place. We got to have everything organized. Look, if we don't have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, how can we possibly be married? Well, you can possibly be married with something that is less than. Should you have some money in the bank? Well, of course you should, whether you're married or single. But you don't need to have a fortune to get married. Furthermore, now, again, I'm not making a rule here. The point is a little bit different than whether or not you should be preparing or doing these particular activities. But I've heard so many people say, I can't get married until I graduate. I would ask, why not? Why can't you be married and go to school? Well, it would just be hard. Okay, perhaps it is, but do you understand how good marriage is? Do we understand that that is an institution created by God, that is a school of sanctification, that will help us in more ways than you can even begin to imagine? If you are putting it off because, I am almost certain, once you get that resolved, there's going to be another because, and then another because, and another because, and then the next thing you know, the average age for being married is going to be about 82. We should be encouraging our young Christian people to strive for marriage. Get to that institution as quickly and rightly as you can. And until you get there, start growing in godliness so that you are actually qualified.